We invited Republican Mark Kennedy on our show the week he announced his Senate bid, and we made the same invitation to Ms. Amy Klobuchar. She's the Hennepin County Attorney. Welcome to Almanac.
Thank you, Kathy. It's great to be on.
Now, for folks, statewide audience, for folks who have never met you, don't know too much about you, give me a string of adjectives that describe you.
Hardworking, perseverant, a fighter, and a winner.
Good. All right. That's not bad.
You know, we've had good quality female candidates run for governor, for endorsement for governor, for U.S. Senate, and no woman has made it to the governor or the Senate on their own. Is it time, or what? You must have analyzed this gender business. What's going on there?
I have talked about this, and people ask me, especially when I was up in the rural areas, about that, and up on the Iron Range, and I basically said this: I'm going to be running on my own merits. Am I a woman? Yes. 50% of the electorate is men, and I think it's important to run on your merits. Sometimes in the past, when there was very novel, when these women candidates were running statewide, and there was such a focus on their gender. And I think it's very important to run on your record and to run on your ideas and what you want to do going forward.
To date, why have so few women tried to go statewide, tried to run statewide?
You know, it's a hard thing to do, and there's been studies showing that sometimes they don't have quite the advantage, but I think that's flipped, and it's especially helpful when women have shown that they're in a position of authority in law enforcement, in those types of jobs, that they do better because people are able to see them as a person instead of as a woman candidate. And I think that makes a difference. There's one woman who said out in Boston that women candidates have to speak softly and carry a big statistic. And I don't buy the speak softly, but I do think that women candidates have had to show that they focus on results, that they've gotten things done, and that's certainly something that I'm going to be doing, is talking about our record, how we've brought crime down significantly in Hennepin County, working with the police and the neighborhood groups, and it's given me faith that government can get things done, and that's one of the reasons that I'm very interested in being in the Senate, because we need to get some more things done for the people of Minnesota.
You describe yourself as a fiscal conservative, and of course, if you get to the Senate, you'll be dealing with the federal budget. Describe what you mean by a fiscal conservative.
You know, when you look at what's going on right now in Washington, we have gone from a $200 billion surplus to a $400 billion deficit in just a few years. Back in the Clinton administration, we had something called pay-go, or pay-as-you-go. It's pretty simple. If you're going to get some more spending, fine, but find the money to do it. If you're going to give some tax cuts, okay, but find the money to do it and show where it is. And we have gotten away from that, and it has gotten us in a lot of trouble. So going forward, I would hope at least we would go back to those rules, and there is some talk about that in Washington. It's something I'd like to do.
You going to come with a Social Security reform plan, or do you think status quo is going to make it, or where are you going to be on that one?
Well, you know, I believe that Social Security should be a guarantee and not a gamble. This country, this nation, has always stood for this idea that we wrap our arms around the people that most need it, our parents, our grandparents. We take care of them.
A higher retirement age, or benefit cut, or tax increases?
There are all kinds of things we can look at, but the thing right now that the President has proposed is really diverting money out of the fund, and in addition to that, $2 trillion in transition costs.
You're not a
You know, it doesn't make
person?
sense. I think there's things we could do with 401ks and make it easier for people to invest, for young people to save money. There's all kinds of legal things we could change to make that easier, but right now we should focus on keeping Social Security solvent into the future, and the President's proposal right now doesn't do that.
Give me one overriding issue you really want to dive into if you make it to the Senate.
You know, I think the number one thing is security, and let me talk about this in a broader way. Security from terrorism, security in our borders, but beyond that, safe communities, economic security, security in our environment. I think sometimes we get so focused on one type of security. When you look at what people, when I've been up there talking to the farmers in Clay County and the workers in Duluth and the small business owners in Rochester, they're all saying something's wrong in Washington. And it's so interesting because they're all over the spectrum. Some are independents, some are moderate Republicans, a lot are Democrats, and they're saying, you know, the way that things are going, it's awry, we're off kilter, the way we're talking about Social Security, the way we're talking about not negotiating with the prescription drug companies, the ethics things that are going on, the filibuster. Things are wrong, they're off kilter, it's extremism, and we need to get back that balance.
What about this? We hear all these horror stories of candidates having to just do just sit on a phone and dial or ask people for money all the time? Is it that arduous, or what's that?
You know, it is a lot. I'm not a millionaire. I'm going to have to raise millions of dollars. Our first quarter went really well. We outraised Mark Kennedy. We raised $593,000. I think people were pretty surprised in Washington. They said, "Who's this woman? We can't pronounce her name." She outraised the Republican candidate. And I did that just through hard work, sitting at my kitchen table. And it is difficult, but you just got to do it. If you believe in what you're doing, if you want to take on those hard fights, you got to do the work to get there.
Do you expect a tough battle for the endorsement?
You know, that's too early to say. People are going to come, people are going to go in this race, and I'm just running my own campaign. I've been reaching out even beyond the party-based, independents, moderate Republicans. I think that's how you build a coalition. You look at how the Democrats won in 2004 in this state, places like Rochester, Minnetonka, Bemidji. It was that kind of reaching out.
We'll see you down the trail. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm
All
sure
right.
I'll be back.
Thanks.